Okay, here goes. I'm making an experiment with, what I have to use. I still have the uh, broken Samsung camera, and of course the other option was fleeting indeed. The exotic sale of so many of those things ended the day uh, that Philip walked in to say we would get things cleared up this week with the bank and the ID. Uh, so I'm getting used to what I have. It's awkward to use that phone for selfies and stuff. That's not really very good. I don't know how I'm going to get this file to YouTube. I'll try. That's all I can say. There's nothing else going on except that I was given papers to sign for JBS about the money, and if that goes through, I will indeed uh, end up with about $2 a day. And I noticed that the people here are smug about that. They've made themselves known. I don't know. In terms of scalability, I listened immediately. Just the thing was paused on Roku, and so after the slop was delivered, it wasn't a meal. This morning's breakfast was superb breakfast, but they hardly make a pretense now, you of anything else. But when that was being delivered, both the cook and her helper were obviously pleased with what they can do. And then I listened to Noam say that he was so sorry, Uncle Albert. So I didn't listen to much of that. It's a commodity, per minute, for knit one, purl two, something, nothing. And of course, he's just, speaking in keeping with everybody else. Um, but I'm glad that when I had the money, I bought this tablet for $40. Uh, it has, as I've indicated, this ultra thin, it's a great little keyboard that it runs on Bluetooth connected to the $40 tablet that came with it, and so I have that. But dollar for dollar, I don't know. I could get more bang for the buck. It has a rear camera and a front camera. I don't know how the microphone is. This is the first time I've tried to use it, and of course it takes snapshots too. But suffice to say, now this doesn't have much of a way to prop. I've propped a pair of headphones behind the thing, and then the front edge is sort of lodged on the tray here. It seems that Bluetooth is, they just don't make provisions for plug-ins anymore. This tablet has a plug-in, but I've read that everything is going to Bluetooth. So. Anyway, there's no news except that my poverty will be reinstated, I guess, just as soon as they demand the money. And here it is, the money will be coming in overnight tonight. So they, I'm sure, knew that I would turn immediately to let you folks know I'm sorry I don't have something to entertain you with, but all the more reason to put your efforts in context. There is Wi-Fi here, and I have the tablet. Unless they sabotage the tablet, as you know, the phone. I was perfectly happy with the phone that they sabotaged, and then I have just run into terrible luck, cruel, cruel fate, trying to replace it. And I guess now I've uh, made it clear that I do appreciate what I'm able to watch, but I'm in a top-down mode, pretty much. You know, um, Roku is top-down, and now so is the other stuff. I will be able, when the check comes tomorrow, I will be able to pay Google, their nominal sum to keep things going, I hope, before the 6th of the month. That should be achieved if Philip shows up and we get everything done that way. But other than that, I'm just saying that, I know that it's refreshing when people have let me know that they're not interested in, I guess, what amounts to a dirge um, from me. Although, for some people, a dirge involves some sort of sleight of hand, you might say, something similar. And but I'll be able to comment on some things. One of the things at issue is some of the scientific stuff, and politics and science run together now. They're completely confounded in ways that some people never dreamt of. It used to be that men of letters talked about, ideals of, amicability and cooperation. Now they spend their time going over technicalities to a large extent that have a lot to do with whether or not what they cared about would ever be written in a normal letter. It turns out to be a stream of data that machines use to talk to each other, and maybe people get a word in edgewise. Well, it's a good thing, like, halt or stop. If that ever amounts to anything, but, it seems like, for example, NATO, they spend their time getting and spending money laundering in effect. Now, some people say, well, that's not the right word. Well, cut to the chase. And I'm concerned about, this business of raw earth, precious metals. That depends on, what they can do for technology. But the race is on to try to find the substitutions that would do best, and of course that does involve far-fetched ways and means. So maybe I'll have time to talk about that, but I guess I'll be preoccupied with some stuff. I can't buy a can of beans, daily for $2, but maybe if I could get a lump sum off to Amazon or eBay or somebody for some more of the ramen noodles, that would last a while. But I don't know what I'm going to do. last time out shifted to just almost nothing because there was nothing. A diet of water mixed with insulin is not a happy combination. Um, it's blatant what's going on. My whole life has been rather blatantly ruined, I'd say, in large measure, because I've been outspoken about some things. And for them, the slur is rather ironic. What they like to say about people as if people would not see through that. I guess it doesn't matter. No, a lack of interest or apathy translates to not lifting a finger to push back against those who have petty positions in the vast uh, deep state. And it's really conventional, something that people have sat on for thousands of years. Um, well, my agenda, I guess, will be to talk about things of mutual interest. I guess most of my stuff will be, if I can, I'll just post it to my account and people know how to find it. And of course, that was a reminder right after I got here to this place about they just make up a few numbers about how disinterested people are. But what are we talking about? We're talking about what everybody knows about. And gosh, people rub it in. The whole thing of coming up with that stuff about the other phones. I think I mentioned already. I expected that sale to end right away, and it did. So I'll try to talk about hegemony and rare earth and related follow through in terms of what really people are trying to do with themselves or anything else. Beats me why it should be such a big deal to manufacture a car designed in the 90s and sell it as sensational. Really, that's more important, I think, than worrying about who is or is not a figurehead or, who has tens of thousands of employees and they can line up and take the fall for somebody if need be. All of that malarkey really is nothing compared to the infrastructure being messed up. But, I don't have much I can do except explain what I think about that. Everything else that I might do, cost more money than I'll ever have, so that's what I can do if I can. And, I have this tablet, which is fairly new, and actually, if Wi-Fi holds up and nobody sabotages the phone any further, it's an old phone, but the battery's still holding out, and I could use it in the room here, and I don't plan to go anywhere else except to try to get things straightened out because of the diabolical stuff in Aniana, and that's starting up here too. You know, I told you about my can opener was in plain sight in one of the bins, and the next time I found it, it had been buried not underwear, diapers in a different place. Well, I happened to be looking for something else that would fit, wedged in it and something like that, and ran across the damn uh, relocated can opener. But now, as I kind of thought, I can't afford to buy food in cans very often. But I have 2 cans of spinach, whole leaf spinach, and 1 can of spaghetti, and a few of these ramen things. I have a dwindling supply of espresso, and that's it, except for their fun and games from the kitchen. Like I said, this morning breakfast was fine. I was so surprised. They didn't ask if I wanted Cheerios, which would have been fine. They brought a plate that had grits, very good bacon, and scrambled eggs, and and a biscuit, and I considered that a treat, really. But then the noon meal was zero. All right, let's see. The little thing here says 17 minutes and some odd seconds. And I guess I'll turn this dirge off and collect my thoughts and maybe do better some other time.